At 3:27 a.m. on June 8, 2024, Jake Morrison, a retired Texas trucker, pulled off his final job, stealing $4.2 million from a cartel vault hidden under a casino. He'd spent 6 months planning it. Every drive, every shift map, every corner of that building, he once delivered their beer. Now he delivered justice. You ever worked 20 years just to get screwed over by the same people who shake your hand? Hit subscribe if you know what it's like to be loyal and get burned for it. Jake's heart hammers as he crouches in the Silver Mountain Casino's basement vault, surrounded by stacks of cash. His military training kicks in, every sound amplified, every shadow a threat. The syndicate's money sits there like it's waiting for him, same building where he used to haul beer kegs for Vincent Chen's operation. His lock-picking tools work silently on the final drawer. Sweat drips onto $100 bills as footsteps echo outside. Jake stuffs the last bundle into his contractor's bag, the same type he carried for 23 years of honest work. The elevator dings. Vincent's voice cuts through the silence. Check every room. Morrison's here somewhere, and this ends tonight. Jake activates his signal jammer. Red emergency lights flicker as he slips through the maintenance tunnel he mapped during months of beer deliveries. Behind him, the vault sits empty. Ahead, Texas dawn waits for a trucker who finally took back what they stole. But this perfect revenge didn't start with a master heist. It started 6 months earlier with a piece of paper that destroyed Jake's faith in honest work forever. Jake Morrison stared at the letter from Lone Star Pension Fund, reading it for the 5th time. The words hadn't changed. Due to corporate bankruptcy proceedings, all employee retirement benefits are terminated. No compensation available. 23 years. 23 years of putting money into that fund, and now some lawyer's signature made it disappear. Bullshit, Jake muttered, crumpling the paper. His trailer felt smaller than usual, closing in around him like the walls of every truck cab he'd ever driven. He grabbed his laptop and started digging. Military logistics training taught him how to trace supply chains, and pension funds weren't that different. Follow the money, find the truth. 3 hours later, he found it. Lone Star Transport executives didn't go broke. They got rich. CEO Marcus Webb bought a $2.3 million mansion in Austin. CFO Sarah Chen purchased a yacht worth $800,000. All while their bankrupt company supposedly had no money for driver pensions. Jake traced the shell companies, the offshore transfers, the fake bankruptcy filings. Every dollar stolen from drivers like him ended up in executive bank accounts. But something else caught his attention. Routing numbers that looked familiar. Those same numbers appeared on shipping invoices from his old delivery routes. Silver Mountain Casino, Desert Winds Resort, Rocky Mountain Gaming. Places where he delivered furniture that weighed like gold and came with armed escorts. Jake's hands shook as he connected the dots. His pension money didn't just disappear. It went straight into a money laundering operation he'd been unknowingly serving for years. The next morning, Jake called Vincent Chen, his old route supervisor. Morrison, thought you retired, brother. What's up? Need some extra work, Vincent. Retirement's boring. Funny you should call. Got a furniture delivery to Silver Mountain tonight. Easy run, cash payment. You interested? Jake gripped the phone tighter. Yeah, I'm very interested. That evening, Jake backed his rig up to the Silver Mountain Casino loading dock. Same routine as always. Armed guards, locked building, cash payment for conference room tables. But this time, Jake had hidden cameras rolling. The furniture boxes weighed 200 pounds each. Jake had delivered enough actual furniture to know that particle board tables didn't weigh like solid gold. He watched the guards handle each box like it contained something precious. During the unloading, Jake overheard Vincent on his phone. Tell Kozlov the Texas route is clean. Morrison doesn't ask questions, and state cops never check furniture shipments. Jake's blood ran cold. Kozlov, Russian organized crime, and Vincent just called him clean, like he was a proven asset in their operation. After the delivery, Jake sat in his truck and opened one of the boxes that had torn during transport. Inside, shrink-wrapped stacks of $100 bills. Millions of dollars disguised as furniture, moving through casinos to wash dirty money clean. His phone buzzed, a text from his doctor's office. Mr. Morrison, we've reviewed your pension situation. Unfortunately, without insurance coverage, we'll need to discuss payment plans for your upcoming treatments. Jake stared at the money in his hands. The same people who stole his pension were laundering millions through these casinos. His $340,000 represented maybe 3 hours of their cash flow. He made a decision that would change everything. Jake spent 2 weeks planning his first strike. He modified his Peterbilt truck with a hidden compartment and signal jammers, created fake bills of lading. The target, Desert Winds Casino in Nevada, $50,000 transfers every Tuesday night. The theft was perfect. Jake swapped one cash container with newspaper bundles during unloading. 23 years of honest driving had earned him complete trust. Nobody questioned his paperwork. 200 miles into the Nevada desert, he counted $50,000. For the first time in months, Jake felt like he had power over his own life. But Vincent Chen discovered the theft 3 days later. "We've got a problem," Vincent told the casino manager during their recorded phone call. Jake's hidden surveillance equipment caught every word. 50 grand went missing from the Nevada run. Has to be driver theft. "You sure it's Morrison?" "Not sure, but he's been asking too many questions lately. Put surveillance on all our regular drivers. This can't happen again." Jake spotted the tail on his next legitimate run. Professional surveillance, rotating vehicles, sophisticated equipment. They suspected him but couldn't prove anything yet. Time to escalate. Jake's second target was a Colorado casino handling $150,000 transfers. He spent 3 weeks studying their operation, then struck during a shift change using a false fire alarm as distraction. By the time they discovered the theft, Jake was 300 miles away with $150,000 in his hidden compartment. But his celebration was short-lived. Vincent's response was immediate and deadly. He brought in Russian syndicate security specialists, professional enforcers disguised as investigators. "Find out who's stealing from us," Jake heard Vincent tell them through his surveillance equipment. "And when you find him, make an example." Jake realized he'd crossed a line. These weren't corporate executives anymore. They were organized criminals who solved problems with extreme measures. But instead of backing down, he escalated further. The third theft targeted $500,000 from Silver Creek Casino in Wyoming. Vincent had brought in Alexei Volkov and Russian specialists after the Colorado incident. Jake spent a month preparing. This might be his final operation if caught. On the night of the operation, Jake triggered simultaneous system failures throughout the casino. Emergency lighting kicked in as alarms blared. While guards scattered, Jake slipped through maintenance tunnels he'd mapped during previous deliveries. The vault contained $500,000 in 12 containers. Jake worked methodically, swapping real money with newspaper bundles while monitoring guard positions. But as he packed the final container, footsteps echoed behind him. Alexei's voice in Russian. "Found something? Moving to investigate." Jake had 90 seconds to complete the theft and escape before professional enforcers cornered him. During his escape, Vincent's enforcers tried to eliminate him. Jake had 90 seconds head start when the tunnel alarm triggered, but Alexei Volkov's team moved fast. Jake reached his truck as bright flashes lit up the loading dock behind him. "Target mobile, heading north," Alexei's voice crackled through Jake's radio scanner. 2 vehicles in pursuit. Jake floored the Peterbilt as projectiles sparked off his trailer. The Russians drove armored Suburbans, but Jake had advantages they didn't know about. His CB radio crackled with trucker warnings about road construction, code words forcing all traffic onto mountain service roads Jake knew perfectly. The narrow roads twisted through pine forests and cliff faces, designed for rangers, not high-speed pursuits. Jake downshifted expertly while the Russians struggled with their top-heavy SUVs on the curves. Through his mirrors, Jake watched the lead Suburban clip a guardrail. Alexei's vehicle swerved around the wreckage, alone now but gaining ground. At Firehole River Crossing, Jake triggered his ace. The remote device sent signals to explosive devices he'd planted along the bridge supports weeks earlier. Emergency barriers dropped as Jake's truck cleared the span. Behind him, Alexei's Suburban slammed into the barrier at 80 miles per hour. Jake parked on a ridge overlooking the crash. 3 heat signatures moved around the disabled vehicle. He keyed his radio and spoke in Russian. "Alexei Volkov, you're hunting the wrong man. Vincent is using you to clean up his mess." Silence, then Alexei's voice. "Morrison, we meet face to face, huh?" "I'm not running anymore," Jake replied. "I'm preparing." He survived, but barely. And now he was a marked man. From his hidden bunker in the Montana mountains, Jake monitored communications and realized the full scope of the operation. The casinos weren't just laundering money. They were eliminating truck drivers who discovered too much. His pension money had funded the elimination of honest workers like himself. That's when Jake decided to destroy the entire network. His intelligence gathering revealed the ultimate target, a single shipment containing $4.2 million in concentrated cash. The money represented 6 months of laundering profits, stored in the Silver Mountain Casino vault during an emergency meeting about FBI investigation. But Jake discovered it was a trap. Vincent, the Russians, and federal agents would all be waiting. Perfect. Jake would turn their trap into his victory. On the night of June 8th, Jake infiltrated the casino during a three-way confrontation between FBI agents, Russian syndicate security, and Vincent's private army. Using the chaos as cover, he accessed the vault through maintenance tunnels he'd mapped during years of beer deliveries. While sounds of conflict echoed above him, Jake systematically emptied the cash drawers. $4.2 million in $100 bills, packed into contractor bags and carried through steam tunnels to his waiting truck. But Jake's real prize wasn't the money. It was the evidence. 6 months of surveillance footage, financial records, and communication intercepts that would expose the entire criminal network. As he drove away from the damaged casino, Jake transmitted everything to FBI field offices, news organizations, and congressional investigators simultaneously. Within 48 hours, 127 arrests across 7 states, $200 million in seized criminal assets, complete dismantling of the interstate money laundering network. Vincent Chen and 12 syndicate bosses indicted for serious crimes and racketeering. The FBI offered Jake complete immunity in exchange for testimony. Witness protection, new identity, financial security for life, his stolen pension restored with interest from seized criminal assets. But the best part came during Vincent's trial. "You don't understand," Vincent told federal prosecutors trying to cut a deal. "Morrison was just supposed to be a driver. He wasn't supposed to be smart enough to figure it out." Jake took the witness stand and delivered 3 days of testimony that sealed Vincent's fate. Life imprisonment without parole. The Russian syndicate leaders extradited and convicted. Every executive who stole pension money from honest drivers brought to justice. 2 years later, Jake Morrison received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the first truck driver in American history to earn the nation's highest civilian honor. For extraordinary service to justice and protection of American workers, the citation read. Standing in the White House, Jake thought about all the drivers who'd been eliminated for discovering the truth, all the families destroyed by stolen pensions, all the honest workers who thought the system would protect them. Sometimes it takes a criminal act to restore justice. Sometimes breaking the law is the only way to uphold it. Jake used his restored wealth to establish the Morrison Foundation for Driver Protection, anonymous hotlines for suspicious cargo, legal defense funds for workers facing criminal coercion, federal oversight of pension funds. The Jake Morrison Transportation Justice Center opened in Austin with a simple inscription, "Where every driver matters and every crime is answered." 5 years after his final heist, Jake sits in his secure ranch house watching news coverage of another money laundering ring exposed by drivers using his methods. The legend continues. Honest workers now have the tools to fight back. $12.8 billion in criminal assets recovered worldwide using Morrison protocols. 4,700 transportation workers protected from exploitation. 0 successful money laundering operations through commercial trucking since Jake's case. Jake Morrison, the trucker who brought down the syndicate and proved that sometimes justice comes from the most unexpected places.